Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com, is brought to you by AP Laser, leading the way. Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. And by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. You know, John, you can leave that Cincinnati Bengals sticker on there because I am a Cleveland Browns fan. Get that straight, will you? You know, the Germans are famous for their engineering, and some of their processes can be rather complicated too, like the oil change on this BMW. Once you figure it out, though, it's really not that hard. It's just different from other vehicles. Now, the first thing we did is we went underneath and took off the belly pan, and that was just 14 bolts, so we went around there, took that off. That revealed the engine. And then we looked for the 17mm drain plug for the engine oil, and just routine there, pop that off. While that was draining, then we located the center plug on the oil filter housing, took that off with a Torx bit, so that was a little bit unusual there. And then we removed the oil filter housing using a big 32mm wrench. Now, the first step in replacing everything is to replace the old O-ring on that oil filter housing. That was a little bit tricky, but not too bad. We replaced the cartridge and then replaced the drain plug. And then when it went back in, the OEM again calls for that Torx bit, but instead on the replacement we had a 13mm bolt, and we put it right back in there. Now on to the next step. There's a crush seal on that 17mm oil plug. That has to be replaced every time you change the oil in the BMW. We replaced that onto the drain plug, put the drain plug back on, and then we were good to go. Now, when it comes to replacing your oil, you want to make sure you get the right oil. So check your manual, or in the case of this BMW, you can look right here. It says 0W20 is what we need. So we want to get the right stuff. It's not like the old days where just any old oil would do. There are a lot of very particular oils for particular needs and engines these days. And this BMW calls for 5 liters, which is just over 5 quarts. So we will refill that with our 0W20. Once you get it refilled, of course, you're going to make sure you have the right level, and you can do that by checking the dipstick. But as I look here under the hood, I see there is no dipstick under here. But we do have a dipstick. He's inside the car. John?
Well, here's where the oil change gets a little complex. So I brought in an expert. This is Matthew Ayers, a BMW expert, and kind of hard to believe he called you a dipstick.
I think he's talking about you, John.
Yeah, he's absolutely talking about me because you're the expert. We performed an oil change. There's no dipstick out there. We have to go through here. But when I fired up the car, everything was lit up like a Christmas tree. Matthew, man, walk us through the system.
All right, so we're going to use this iDrive controller right here, and we're going to go and get through this screen, down to notifications, push it down, and you can see here you've got 2 messages up, the oil service and the tires. So what we're going to do first is go in here and come down, go down to vehicle status. And then we'll go over here.
Okay, so service required, everything's rolling through. Engine, can we reset the oil or check the oil from here?
Yes, so what we're going to do is come back over to the instrument cluster now, and we're going to hold down this button here.
All right.
The service is due here, and you can see the engine oil service.
Right.
So we're going to hold it down a second time.
Okay.
It's going to ask us now if we want to reset. We'll hold it down a third time. And now it says the reset's in progress.
Fantastic. And let's check the oil once.
All right, so to check the oil, now we're going to crank the vehicle up. Go back over here, up here to engine oil level.
Right.
And we don't have a dipstick, and this is actually how we're going to do it. So here's
start the measurement. Bam, and it goes through it. So the car's going to do it all by itself. We're making progress, it's rolling along, but check your manufacturer's service manual or your owner's manual for your procedure. Hey, it's time to switch gears, so stick around. We'll be back with more Tech Garage presented by RockAuto.com.